chairperson of the least developed countries, colleague ministers, distinguished delegates. It is a pleasure for me to participate in this Leaders Climate Ambition Summit organized by the LDC. As already announced by the Climate Action Tracker, that the Gambia is among the world's developing countries that have proposed an ambitious conditional emission targets that would direct its emission on a downward trajectory. We will not be relenting in this direction. Thus, we intend to increase this ambitious status towards the longer term, as that will be reflected in the climate vision we are currently developing. Mr. Chair, we have started the revision and updating of our current nationally determined contribution, and the revision and updating will ensure the inclusion of additional sectors and gases that were not covered in the initial NDC, with the quest to slightly increase the current ambition levels, which will be agreed nationally with stakeholders consultations. The Gambia is among the world's developing countries that have proposed an ambitious conditional emission target that would direct our emission, which we intend to continue despite its insignificant share of global greenhouse gas emissions, which is about 0.01%. Our own conditional targets are also among the most ambitious, and this commitment has been rated by Climate Action Tracker as being 1.5 degrees Celsius Paris Agreement compatible. Therefore, the Gambia's NDC currently, without international funding, aims to unconditionally reduce emissions by 2.7% by 2030 and further to 3% by 2035 below business as usual, and conditional, depending on international financial support, currently aims for a target of about 45.4% reduction by 2035 and close to 50% by 2046. Mr. Chair, there are other favorable initiatives that helps the Gambia to increase our renewable in the national energy mix, which are as follows. The first large-scale PV project in the Gambia, in the Greater Banjul area, which is about 20 megawatts of solar energy, to be constructed in Jambur, supported by the World Bank, was approved in May 2018. And currently, we are working with other stakeholders to ensure that those whose lands are affected are adequately compensated before the project starts. The Gambia is also already working with our regional and international partners to shift to use large-scale renewable energy sources of hydroelectricity under the OMVG partnership with neighboring countries such as Senegal, Gambia, Guinea-Conakry, and Guinea-Bissau. These are the 4 member states of the OMVG, which we are expecting not less than 100 megawatts, and this can go a long way in ensuring that Gambia is energy self-sufficient by 2030, as agreed to by the World Bank. Mr. Chair, in addition, with the support of the European Union, the Gambia is also on the track to light up more than 1,000 schools and over 100 health facilities in rural Gambia with solar in terms of lighting and refrigeration, that is storage of drugs. Also, we are also working with the UNDP. With the support of UNDP, we also have a nano facility nationally appropriate mitigation action of 10 megawatts of solar, which will also be connected to the national grid, and this will also help us to realize our nationally determined contribution by reducing greenhouse gas emission. Mr. Chair, the long-term strategy setting out pathway to net zero emission is also on course. We are also working with the IIED, International Institute for Environment and Development in the United Kingdom, and they have completed the first draft of the long-term strategy, which will be validated nationally in December. Furthermore, the NAMA facility that I referred to earlier, Mr. Chair, is focusing on rural electrification, which has recently received approval of the NAMA facility. This NAMA support project is to support the development of off-grid connection renewable energy through the construction of 2 solar PV sites of a combined capacity of 10.5 megawatts over 10 years. The NSP intends to lead to a direct emission reduction of 103,064 tons of carbon dioxide and 294,371 tons of carbon dioxide over its lifetime. Mr. Chair, you can see that all these combined we will surpass our targets. This is why in the revision, we would want to set new targets so that we can be part of the nations who contribute significantly to reducing greenhouse gas emission and sea level rise. Mr. Chair, we are also working on, the Gambia has taken fundamental steps to increase her ambition in adaptation planning for the immediate and long-term future, which is essential for building climate resilience for her population. Among these steps, we have already developed a climate change policy in 2016, which came with an establishment of the National Climate Fund and the National Climate Change Secretariat within the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources. And Mr. Chair, I am happy that yesterday the director of the Secretariat has received his appointment letter to commence work effective 1st of December. And this will also help us to fast-track the setting up of the local climate fund that will support not only the public sector, but it will also support the private and the civil society so that they can participate effectively in building the resilience of our vulnerable communities. Mr. Chair, we have also completed the GCF proposal for the development of a national adaptation plan. The first draft is being finalized for submission to the GCF. The development of a framework document on national adaptation plan for agriculture, which is also validated by stakeholders on November 23rd, 2020. And this will help us to build more smarter agricultural practices in this country to ensure that agriculture, which is greatly sensitive to climate and climate-related changes, will also thrive in this country. We are also in the process of developing, as I said, our long-term climate change vision, targeting a horizon of 2046, which is in line with the LDC vision of 2050 by having zero net emission by 2050. And this vision will be followed by a strategy that is expected to facilitate the implementation of the vision. Mr. Chair, as a developing country, we have also developed a climate investment plan, which is in the form of a SPCR, Strategic Program for Climate Resilience. And this resilience program looks at all facets of the economy, and also ensure that all of them are climate resilient, and also gradually ensuring mainstreaming climate into the sector-wide economy. and also ensure that in the mainstreaming, we also make sure that every sector has a budget line that will contribute to their climate change actions, both mitigation and adaptation actions. And we have also developed these reports that are validated, and now we are in the process of developing them into full-blown proposals, which will be led by this ministry and supported by various other ministries and departments that are affected. So, Mr. Chair, this is the pathway, the sustainable pathway that the Gambia is taking to ensure that we also look at graduating from linear economy to a circular economy that will support a sustainable production and consumption system in this country, ensuring that we are climate resilient in the next 20 to 30 years. Thank you very much for your attention.